Hello everyone, my name is Holly Clan and I work in the Career Development Center at the Asper School of Business. In this virtual presentation, we're going to go over tips and strategies to conduct an effective work search which will help you be successful even in a competitive labor market. We'll explore the hidden job market and how to job search with intent in order to put you in front of opportunities. First of all, I want you to let go of any assumptions you've made about your job search right now. Don't think about the what ifs and concerns about job prospects. I want you to be proactive instead. Being proactive will help you make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. Now, here are some assumptions I've heard. No one's hiring right now. Whether it's because someone couldn't find many job postings in their field or they were job searching during a recession. The truth is, some industries flourish in times of economic downturn and others do not. You need to learn who is hiring. Note that even companies that are in the middle of a hiring freeze will be keeping an eye out for the right people to help them navigate through the challenges that they're facing. For example, when a local well-known corporation was notoriously cutting jobs, they were still hiring for other positions to help them navigate the processes and paperwork required to do this. As they put it to me, we're still operating. Business has not stopped. Next assumption. Well, I should target any kind of job to increase my chances of getting a job. In truth, this just confuses employers and makes them do all the hard work that you should really be doing, which is finding out what your strengths and skills are and what you'd be suited to doing. If you say in your resume or cover letter that landing any job is fine, it gives the message that you may not be good at or even care what you do. It tells the hiring manager, hey, hire me and give me whatever position you have. I'm average in all of them and don't really have a big interest in any of them either, so you can play it safe. Instead, focus on one job position and include all your credentials that are significantly relevant to this position. Give the image that you're born for this job, so the employer should hire you instead of the other job seekers. Next assumption. Well, employers know I'm an Asper student or Asper grad, so I don't need to tell them what I'm good at. Well, in fact, you do. Don't assume employers know what your potential is or what you learned in school. You really do need to be specific and spell it out for them. Now, here's one I do want you to remember. Luck favors the prepared, and being prepared involves being proactive. So let's talk about the difference between a proactive and a reactive job search. A reactive job search might look like this. You wake up in the morning, make coffee, head over to your computer, go to some job search sites and start scrolling. After about an hour, you start to get a little discouraged, so you spend the rest of your day doing something else and hope that there's more postings tomorrow. If you're feeling really ambitious, you might email your friends and family to tell them that you're looking for a job and play the waiting game. This is not a proactive search. A proactive search includes identifying what's important to you in a job, identifying organizations that you're interested in, building your network, reaching out to hiring managers, and research. Before you start your job search, you're going to have to start with some self-exploration. Figure out what you have to offer that sets you apart from the rest. And while you're doing it, evaluate your goals, values, skills, and interests. This will help you navigate where to look. Self-assessment makes it easier to write a cover letter, resume, and elevator pitch. It helps you job search because you can evaluate the competencies and duties in the job description instead of just looking at the job titles. It helps you promote yourself to potential employers and boosts your confidence. So I'm going to introduce what may seem like a wacky notion. Stop looking at job postings. Stop searching by job title. When you look up jobs, what are you typing in? Accountant, marketing coordinator? You might not even know what your ideal job is called. 7 years ago, I didn't even know what my position was called or what it entailed. This is where research comes in. There are all sorts of different job titles that could be used, and you've seen how creative people can get on LinkedIn. Here's an example. This is the staff list at IBEX Payroll. Now, look at these interesting job titles. We've got a feed counter and a front-end Jedi. Now, why don't they just call themselves accountant or front-end developer like a normal person, right? Well, for one, they're trying to demonstrate their company culture. It's just not any old payroll firm. I've been to this organization and it sure didn't seem boring to me. And the people there seemed like really interesting, neat people. And if a job seeker learns about their organization through research, looks into opportunities there, and feels a great match with their own skills and personality, well, they have a better chance of describing to the employer why they'd be a good fit with their company, not just someone looking for any job to pay the bills. Now, in addition, I want you to think about what matters to you as an employee. So you might say, well, I just need a job. These are all nice to have. How is being picky about my job going to help me in a competitive labor market? Well, I'm not telling you to be picky. I'm telling you to have clear goals and values. And then when you find a company that seems to fit that criteria, you will be able to emulate genuine enthusiasm and interest in the job. You'll seem like a good prospect to the company. And in turn, you'll also be better able to explain to the hiring team why you're a good fit and why they should hire you. It's much better to have a clear targeted work search than to apply to 100 different companies with a generic cover letter and resume for jobs you're not really interested in. Career research is going to be an important part of your work search for this reason. So you can start by researching industries that are hiring by reading the news, looking for job posting trends, even if it's not a job that's suitable for you right now, and target those areas. For example, let's say you came up with the list here of industries during the research: healthcare, scientific and tech services, finance, insurance and real estate, and education and training, all hiring. So you might say, okay, well, I'm not a nurse or a programmer, so that doesn't really help me out. Now, remember, these are entire industries. These aren't job duties or professions. These industries require a multitude of skill sets and majors to operate. So conduct research to find lists of companies in these industries, what kinds of roles a company of interest may require by looking at their their company website, LinkedIn, or talking to people that work there. Next, find out what skill sets are in demand in the current economy, and add these to your resume and cover letter so the recruiters know that you have these skills. Here's another assumption. I don't need to conduct career research. I'm an accounting major. I just need to find an accounting job. Well, I'm using accounting as an example, but this goes for any major. Accounting is not a one-size-fits-all kind of job. There are so many workplaces to look at, from the Big Four to a small startup. So how are you going to know where to look? Where will you enjoy working? Is typing in accounting into a job search site going to cut it? Are you going to send your resume to every business in Winnipeg, assuming they all need accountants? What about your own areas of interest? For example, do you know about the field of forensic accounting that uses accounting and investigative skills to help identify and solve crimes? Like, how cool is that? Do you want to work in an exciting industry as an accountant, such as sports or gaming? Do you know which companies offer robust opportunities for accountants to grow in the industry? There are so many fast-growing companies that usually start with hiring accountants as they grow, and then they become the CFOs to help handle the business. It's all too easy to dismiss a company like an air conditioning company. You know, what kind of roles would they have for an accountant? Well, I'll tell you from personal experience with talking with the CFO of one. There's opportunities to offer input on business strategy, ability to get your hands on all areas of accounting instead of a niche area, great work environment, growth opportunities, etc. So if you're making assumptions and not conducting research, you're going to miss great opportunities. So the hidden job market should also be a main focus of your work search. So essentially, the hidden job market includes jobs that are just not listed on job boards, job websites, etc. So let's reframe. We're not going to call them hidden. Really, they're just simply not publicly advertised using traditional methods. And 75 to 80% of jobs are found by referrals and networking. And the people that you meet over time become your connectors to these jobs. So remember, it's not always the most qualified person who gets the job. It's the best job seeker. So you need to learn what's out there, whether it's a job, organization, or a person you want to connect with. Another strategy to conduct a targeted job search is to look for opportunities within industries that you're familiar with, whether by personal interest or a past position. Employers love to hire people who are familiar with their industry. They want someone who understands their business. For example, did you work for a renovations company while in school? Maybe you can find a list of renovation or even restoration companies in Winnipeg and look at opportunities there that are business related. Now, here's a video from the Designing Your Career series from Stanford University on why the hidden job market is an important part of your work search.
Being a job seeker can be really frustrating. You've applied to all the jobs, at least all the jobs that are listed somewhere, and you think you're done, and the competition feels fierce. It's hard to know what to do or even where to start to find a really good job in this crowded space. But there are more jobs available than you are aware of. As a job seeker, you're facing what we call the outsider problem. The outsider problem is that many potential jobs are invisible to you. Depending on industry, as many as 80% of available jobs are not listed publicly. So if you think you've applied to everything, it's possible that you've really only applied to about 1 of every 5 positions. The other 4 positions? They're either available to those with access to the inside, or they may be in the process of being created. The people inside the industry are building things, talking to each other, and they know where they need help. And as an outsider, you just can't see them. So how do you find these unlisted jobs? To connect with people and opportunities on the inside, you need to get into the conversation. You need to hear insider stories to understand what jobs need doing, what it's like working there, and whether you might fit in. And as you talk to more people in an industry, you'll also learn their lingo and the right questions to ask. Sometimes, opportunities may even be generated on the spot thanks to the interaction. Talking to people who are inside the industry is the best way we know of to discover or create new opportunities. We call this process informational interviewing, and we'll dig into how to do it well in the next video.
Now I'm going to share a video on informational interviewing and what that is all about.
An informational interview is an amazingly powerful tool. It can help you learn about different types of work you're interested in. And by providing inside perspective, it may even connect you to opportunities you couldn't see from the outside. So let's take a look at what informational interviewing is all about. An informational interview is not a job interview, and it's not a trick you play to get a job. If you're asking for a job and they do have one, then they'll likely start judging whether you're a good fit. And if they don't have one, then that conversation ends there. The key to a successful informational interview is curiosity. With sincere curiosity and good questions about your interviewee's life and experience, you gain insights into their successes and failures, how they got where they are, and what's important to them. Your curiosity will lead to an authentically engaged conversation, which also opens the door for the interviewee to get curious about you. The professional you're speaking with might say something like, "Wow, you're asking some really good questions." And in that transition, informational interviewing becomes even more valuable for someone looking for work. Informational interviews give you an opportunity to see what kinds of work resonate with you and help you determine what communities you would like to be a part of. In a good informational interview, the professional you speak with gets a lot out of the conversation too. They get to discuss their life and their work with someone who's curious about their experience and values their expertise. Plus, they get the pleasure of talking with someone who's genuinely interested in what they do. How do you do it well? Here are 5 tips to get you started. First, do your homework. Take some time to research LinkedIn or other online platforms to learn about the professional you're interviewing. Consider what questions you have about their life and work. The second tip is to try to meet in person. On the phone is okay, but face-to-face is best. 3, always try to buy the coffee or lunch. Your interviewee is giving you their time. Paying is a good way of showing your appreciation and beginning to create a connection. 4. Ask your interviewee who else they recommend you talk with. If the interview has gone well, they may be willing to connect you to other professionals you can learn from and who might have opportunities for you. Finally, tip number 5. After the interview, send a thank you. Email is okay, but a handwritten note is even better. And if they ask you to keep them posted on your progress, do so.
I think those are great explanations on the hidden job market and how to do an informational interview. So other ways that you can network are through LinkedIn by creating your own content, engaging with others on the platform instead of just, clicking on people and looking up jobs. There's ways to get involved, just like any social media platform. You can engage in 10,000 Coffees through Cafe, where you'll be connected with a mentor who's an alumni of our school. Any virtual or in-person career fairs or events, any event really, a meetup to go for a hike, any industry-related event or professional development opportunities. And remember that connections don't have to hold immediate returns to be valuable. You can make a connection that will turn out to be of value years down the road, and you wouldn't have even known it at the time. I once met someone who gave me a job lead at a swimming lesson. So remember, when networking, be authentic, follow up, give back whenever possible, and practice makes perfect. Know that your words do matter. Look at the difference between these two phrases. Can you help me find a job? Versus, I'm looking for work in digital marketing and was wondering if you know anyone working in the industry and could introduce me so I could learn more. You have to remember that people are busy. You don't want to make them do all the work or thinking for you. LinkedIn is an excellent tool, but use it effectively and don't simply update your profile and wait for the offers to start rolling in. You can research, network, look at job postings, engage with your connections, and look up useful job search articles. Here's a company in the tech industry, Bold Commerce. So you can find out who works there, what types of roles they typically employ for. Here we can see they have anywhere from a client success specialist to marketing and accounting. Maybe they're looking to add to their team. Either way, you don't know unless you inquire and find out a little bit more. You can learn a lot from the people section on LinkedIn. Speaking with a high school career counselor at a conference recently, she told me that learning this tip I'm about to show you was worth the money she paid to be at the conference alone. You can use LinkedIn to look up job titles or areas of study and then see where those people work. So type in a job title like marketing coordinator, click on the category filter people, and then see where those people work in your area. And depending on the profile, what they do. Just remember that not every employee is necessarily on LinkedIn or every organization. So don't assume that what you see is what you get. Social media is another place you can find jobs. Here's an example from Downtown Winnipeg Biz when they were looking for a new director of operations. Some companies may employ this strategy to only attract applicants that already know about them and have a genuine interest in their organization. Now, here's one of my favorite ways to create your own opportunity with a company that you're excited about. Write a pitch email. This is essentially a written elevator pitch. So you're going to identify a company that you're interested in working for and find a contact person who would be able to make you, point you in the right direction or make a decision. You're going to introduce yourself, explain why you targeted their company, explain what you have to offer, ask if there's an opportunity or if there are any upcoming available opportunities, or ask for an information interview. Attach your resume. No need for a cover letter. This email is kind of taking the place of your cover letter because you're not applying for an actual job posting. So, for example, I don't think that there have been many times that I did this method and I didn't get a response. I've gotten interviews, informational interviews, job leads, and job offers this way. And make sure that you're always well-researched, genuine, and targeted when you do this, and you should be successful. So finding contact information, this can be a big hurdle to reaching out for information interviews or writing a pitch email. You know, you've done all this career research and you have a list of companies to target and you just can't figure out how to connect with them. If you're lucky, you'll find an HR email, and sometimes those emails don't get responded to. So what do you do? Here's one way that you can find out the right person and or the right contact information to use to reach them. So this is a staff page from Sport Manitoba. You can learn so much from a staff directory. I call staff directories on company websites hidden job market gold. Not every company is going to have one, but if they do, it tells you a lot. So let's say a job seeker is a big sports and active living fan and wants to work somewhere they're passionate about as an accountant. They could use this strategy to see if Sport Manitoba even employs accountants in the first place. You can see here that Sherry is the HR person and executive assistant. What this means is she knows what's going on in the organization, and it also tells you that they have a smaller HR team because it's a part-time position with her executive assistant duties and privacy officer duties. The finance director would probably know if there's an upcoming need in finance before HR does as well, so you might want to reach out to Laurel. Okay, before we start wrapping up, I want to acknowledge I haven't been very positive about job search websites so far. So while considered a reactive job search technique, this is not to say you can't be successful with applying to traditional job postings. And I'm not saying to ignore them completely. But like you've learned so far, you're only targeting a small percentage of available opportunities this way. In addition, in times of high unemployment, you're facing a lot of competition with other job seekers who don't know the same tips and tricks that you now do. So even if you're a competitive candidate, it could be easy to get lost in a sea of applications. You could even consider the career portal part of the hidden job market because it's only visible to ask for students and grads. Just be smart about your search. So limit the time you spend on job search sites per day, use a variety of job search terms, and don't limit yourself. Set alerts when possible so the jobs come to you in your inbox, and engage with people on these platforms when possible because that's latest feature of job search websites. It's not just about looking for jobs. There's lots of people on there that write articles and post as well. Okay, so we've talked about all these techniques and strategies, but remember, it's important to stay motivated and be kind to yourself at the same time. So, take things action by action, word by word, set goals and a time to do them for tasks so that you feel like you're on track and can feel like you accomplish things as you go along. Make new connections with people, create new positive habits, make sure that you give yourself a sense of purpose and hold yourself accountable, and make sure that you also practice self-care. Just remember, you've got this. You know what to do. Just make sure that you actually do it. You have to put the work into your job search. So take these strategies and actually put them into action. Having the information doesn't change behavior. You must put the information into practice. So best of luck with your job search.